All Indiana Politics
is your premier source for Indiana politics.
Focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
I'm Wish TV's Phil Sanchez. Max Engling is a Republican running for Indiana's 5th District. We spoke about why he thinks he's the right person for the job, his family, and his time spent in Washington, D.C. Max Engling joining us now. Max running for the District 5. Max, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Phil.
Yeah. So we were talking off camera about your background. You've spent some time in Washington, D.C. Give our viewers a little bit more information about who you are.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a Christian first and foremost. I'm also a husband and a father and a conservative. And so to me, that guides a lot of what I do. But I see so many urgent challenges right now that are facing us that we need somebody who is conservative, but can get to work on that right away. And that's where a lot of the background that I have, both here in Indiana and in Washington, is going to serve me well to do this immediately.
What are some of those issues?
Sure. So when I go around the district, I've talked to a lot of folks. And one of the biggest things I see is the cost of living. So I talked to a young lady actually maybe a month ago, and she said she's in school full time, she's paying for her own tuition at school, and she's working to support her mother who needs help because everything is so much more expensive now. Yeah. And so we really need to, that's one of the biggest things I see that we need to focus on. But also there's immigration, there's the debt, there's all kinds of challenges that are very urgent right now.
How do you attack them? It's a lot. How do you do it? How do you change it?
So one of the biggest things is that you really need to build coalitions. You need to say, how do I work together with other Republicans to actually accomplish the things that a lot of conservative Republicans talk about? And I'm tired of just talking and losing on the issues. I want to get out there and say, how do we win? How do we build the group of people that won't let us down on this and actually accomplish those conservative things?
When you have these conversations, how do those conversations go, especially when you talk to maybe the old guard of within the GOP? I mean, obviously that's kind of a big talking point, right? There's kind of the newer, younger mindset versus the folks who have been there for quite some time.
Yeah, so I've been very encouraged by the folks that I talk to. I think they want someone who is energetic, that fresh voice, but still conservative. We don't see as many young folks that are sticking to the conservative values that want to be a Republican and say, how do we do the things that conserve? And so there's been an energy around that. I think a lot of it is needing to look at it from a fresh perspective. Maybe think innovatively about how do we attack the debt. Maybe we ask CBO to pull out the window instead of looking at 10 years, you look at 20 years. Maybe we move to a 2-year budget cycle in Washington. Just new ideas that I think sometimes you need a younger, fresh perspective on.
Okay, so, speaking of national politics, obviously we have a big election coming up, not only, in your district, but also on the national scale as well. Where do you stand when it comes to the presidential election?
So I support President Trump. I believe that, well, one, he's going to be the nominee. 2, I think that he's going to win the White House. And I'm excited to work with him. If I'm given the privilege to serve in this particular way, I'm excited to work with him in Washington to say, let's stop just talking about the issues and let's start accomplishing those issues. And you need a White House that's motivated, and you need a legislature that is willing to get on board and say, let's accomplish these things.
Within District 5, when you have conversations with people, do they agree with you? Do they think it's cost of living? Do they see that things that are important to you are on their kitchen table and their dinner table at the end of the night? Do they talk about these things as well?
Absolutely. So we knocked probably 1,000 doors in the 2023 election, helping out a lot of the candidates at the municipal level. And I brought 2 of my oldest 2 children with me at a lot of those doors. And cost of living was the number one thing that we encountered. But you also hear a lot when it comes to the border. So I've been down to the border 2 times in the last year and change and seen it right up close and personal, whether it was in Arizona or whether it was in Texas. And it's a real crisis down there. And people in Indiana feel that. It's not just illegal immigration, but it's also fentanyl. It's not even overdosing anymore. It's fentanyl poisoning at this point, being laced into other drugs that you're not expecting you're going to be taking fentanyl. It's human trafficking. There's a massive crisis of folks that are coming up that are being, then held essentially in bondage by the cartels, saying, you owe me the money that you promised you'd pay, and now you have to work that off to pay it back. And so that really hits even in Indiana. Another crisis that we see is on the debt. So we know that we have a massive debt challenge right now. And that's, we're going to be pretty soon paying $1 trillion every year just to service that debt. And that affects real people, real Americans, real Hoosiers here in Indiana and in the 5th District, when we could be spending that money on other things. So we absolutely see that at the doors as we're talking to folks in the district.
Are you willing to work cross party lines?
Yeah, I think you have to on a lot of these issues. Let me give you one example. So when you look at Social Security, so we have to preserve Social Security. And it's a hard challenge. So there are 2 members of the House right now, Congressman Cole and Congressman LaTurner, that have a piece of legislation that says you put a group of bipartisan members into a room for however long that is. I believe the number is 180 days, but it's something along those lines. And they have to put forward a solution that then gets an up or down vote on the House and Senate floor. And so big issues like that have to be solved with both sides coming to the table. But as you know, and as you've seen in Washington, so many of our problems are just even the Republican Party not being able to figure out where they are.
Right.
So we really have to make sure that we are doing the conservative things we talk about, but using and having the whole party come along with that.
Okay, so obviously you have a big family. How do they feel about you maybe jumping into this?
Yeah,
I know you worked in D.C., and this is not strange to you, but still, I mean, it's a big-time job.
Yeah. We are very blessed. So we have 4 kids, 7, 6, 4, and 10 months. And you're right, it is a big job, but we have built that family inside of the pressure of Washington already. And so we know what that feels like. Now we're just pivoting where we're taking that and how we're staying busy. And we're excited for the opportunity to say, let's make this district, let's make the state of Indiana, let's make the country better for those 4 children, for my 4 children, for the children and the families and the Hoosiers in the 5th District. That's so much of what drives me, that they understand and they're excited for this run.
How's the campaign going so far?
Campaign has been going great. So I've been very encouraged by the number of folks that want someone who is conservative, someone that shares their values, but can actually go do those things in Washington. I think a lot of times on the conservative side, we're comfortable with just talking about it. And so I've been very encouraged by the energy around sending someone to accomplish what we talk about on the conservative side.
What type of reaction do you get from within, and conversations have you had from within the GOP here in Indiana and also on a national scale?
I've had really good interactions. The county party chairs, the 5th District chair here in the 5th District of Indiana have been very supportive. There's certain things they can or can't do because they hold to a line on that.
Sure.
But nationally, they've been very supportive. A number of folks in members of the House currently have said, yes, we want you to come out and be the congressman here so that we can work together to accomplish these things. Because they know already, I'm an honest broker. I'm going to come into this without an agenda other than the 5th District to say, how do we solve some of these big challenges?
Okay. Max Engling, is there anything I haven't asked you that maybe you want to add in that our folks at home want to know?
I don't think so. I mean, let me add one thing. I would say, I want to do this job. I understand it's a privilege to do this job. I understand it's an honor to be given that privilege. And so I want to do that for the people of the 5th Congressional District. There's no back and forth on whether I have the drive or the energy or would even like to do this. I know I want to do this. And so I'm looking for the support of the people of the 5th District, and they can go to maxforindiana.com to learn more about that.
Perfect. Max, thank you so much for being here. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.